Alright, in this lesson, we're going to learn how to solve quadratics by completing the square. So last lesson, we learned how to complete the square. We're going to use that to solve some quadratics. So let's do this question first. So you can see it's in completed square form. It's already been done for us. Now, this time they're making it equal to 0 and pretty much asking us to solve for x. Alright, let's do it. So first things, we might be obvious. What we can do is take 4 to the other side by adding. So we have x minus 3 squared is equal to 4. Now, this might seem kind of familiar to you. We did this sort of question when we were finding distance and midpoint of two coordinates, right? Back all the way back in chapter 1 or chapter 2, right? So what do you think you should do? Well, I talked about it in that chapter, but I'll briefly explain it again. If you have x squared is equal to 9, well, to take square to the other side, you need to square root that 9. So square root 9. So x is equal to 3, right? But hang on. So that means that if you sub 3 into x, right? So that means 3 squared is equal to 9. But what if I sub negative 3 into x? So I sub negative 3 into x over there. That is also is equal to 9. So I got two solutions, not just 3, but I also have x is equal to negative 3 as a solution, right? So if I just do just square root 9, I'm not going to get both solutions. So pretty much this is where the rule comes in. Every time we take a square to the other side by square rooting, we need to do a plus or minus. Right? We did this before, but I'll just explain it again quickly. So x is plus or minus root 9. So then you have to say x is equal to plus or minus 3. So x is equal, you can split that up into positive 3 and x is equal to negative 3 like so. Right? So you have to use similar logic to do this question. So you need to take the square to the other side by square rooting. So you have x minus 3 is equal to square root of 4. But what do you have to do when you square root? Well, you have to do a plus or minus. Right? So let's do it. So you have x minus 3 is equal to square root of 4 is 2. So you have plus or minus 2, right? And the last step to get x by itself is take 3 to the other side by adding. X is equal to plus 3, because that's what I do when I take it to the other side. Plus 3 plus or minus 2, right? So I can write it at the start, or if you're more comfortable, I can write it at the end. So plus or minus 2 plus 3, like so. It doesn't matter. Same thing either way. So obviously, this can be split up into two options, which you take the positive version of the 2. So x is equal to plus 2 plus 3. Or you can take this negative version of the 2 is negative 2 plus 3. So your two solutions are 5 and x is equal to just positive 1. Negative 2 plus 3, like so. So again, let's do some more questions so we get the hang of this. So you need to solve this, all right? So again, let's take the whole number to the other side first. So you have 18 is equal to 2x plus 2 whole thing squared. Now, how do I get 2 to the other side? Well, 2 and the brackets are multiplying, so I need to divide to take it to the other side. So take it this side, I need to divide. So I have 18 over 2 is equal to x plus 2 whole thing squared, like so. So 18 on 2 is obviously 9. So 9 is equal to x plus 2 squared. So now I need to get rid of the square root. Well, how do I get rid of the square root? I need to square, sorry. How do I said it. I said the answer already. How do I get rid of the square? I need to square root both sides. So I need to square root the 9 over here is equal to x plus 2 pretty much. But remember, every time I square it, what do I have to do? I have to do a plus or minus. So pretty much I have over here, I have 3 plus or minus 3 is equal to x plus 2. Right, let's write up here. So plus or minus 3. Now how do I take 2 to this side? Well, I need to subtract because it's positive. So I have plus or minus 3 minus 2 is equal to x. Right, now we just need to split it up. You have two different options. So I take the positive version of 3. So x is equal to plus 3 minus 2, or x is equal to negative 3 minus 2. I take the negative version of that 3. So x is equal to 1, x is equal to negative 5. That's it. Okay, hope you got the hang of it. Now this time, look, it says solve for x by completing the square. So it's not in complete square form. It's called the turning point form. We'll talk more about that in a second in the next lesson. But we just need to complete the square first. So we learned completing the square already. We should know, we should be pretty good at it by now. So I have x minus 2 whole thing squared. So b divided by 2 minus 2 in brackets squared minus 6. So 0 is equal to x minus 2 squared minus 4 minus 6. So 0 is equal to x minus 2 squared minus 10. That's just completing the square. Same thing. Okay. From here, we learned that we use the method we learned in this lesson to solve. So it's the same as always, right? So we take the whole number to the other side. So the 10 to the other side. 10 is equal to x minus 2 whole thing squared, like so. Then I need to get rid of that square. So what I'm going to do is take square to the other side by square rooting. So square root 10. Now remember, every time I square root, I have to do a plus or minus, is equal to x minus 2. Now you might notice I can't simplify square root 10. Square root 10 is it's no whole number. But that doesn't matter. You can have square root as part of your answer, right? It's completely fine to have square root of 10 if you can't simplify. So what are you left? We have just x minus 2 on the other side. So we just need to get x by itself. So we're going to take 2 to the other side by adding. So you have plus or minus square root 10 plus 2 is equal to x, right? That's the final answer pretty much before splitting. So now we just split, we take the positive version of root 10. So we can say x is equal to root 10 plus 2, so plus root 10, or x is equal to negative root 10 plus 2. So again, two solutions. The only difference in this question is we cannot simplify that root 10. All right, next. So obviously this one's a little bit different. We learned again how to complete the square if there's a number in front, right? So let's do that. So actually, no, I would like you to pause the video and have a go at this question. Okay, I'll go through it now. So what I'm going to do, because I can't take 3 out from all 3 terms, I'm just going to take it out from the first 2 terms because it's easier. So I'm going to say 3x squared plus 2x and leave negative 1 on the outside and just complete the square for the inside part. So I have 3 in square brackets, x, this sign comes down, the plus comes down, plus 2 divided by 2 is just 1, so x plus 1 squared, and minus whatever this is squared, so minus 1 in brackets squared, like so, minus 1. So pretty much what this is 3x plus 1 whole thing squared, minus 1 squared is just 1, minus 1. So I need to get rid of the square brackets by expanding now, so I have 3x plus 1 whole thing squared minus 3 minus 1, so I have 3x plus 1 squared minus 4, like so. So hang on, what's the question asking for? The question is saying this whole thing is equal to 0. That means my completed square version, which is this, right? That version is also is equal to 0, right? They mean the same thing, so it's 0. And then we solve from here. Let's do it. So I take the whole number to the other side. I have 3x plus 1 whole thing squared is equal to 4. And 3 is multiplying over here, so I need to take it to the other side by dividing. So I have 4 over 3, like so. Then I need to take square to the other side by square rooting both sides. So I have x minus 1 is equal to plus or minus. Remember, every time you square root, plus or minus square root of 4 over 3. Like so. Now you might be wondering, can I simplify that? And I'm going to say yes, you can a little bit. So remember, if you remember back from third laws, if you ever did that, if I have square root of a on b, I can write that as square root of a over square root of b. Right? So I can write x minus 1 is equal to plus or minus, the plus or minus stays the same, square root of 4 over square root of 3, right? And we know what is the square root of 4? Well, the square root of 4 is just 2. So plus or minus 2 over square root of 3, like so, right? And if you know what rationalizing is, you can rationalize by multiplying by root 3 on root 3, but it's not required. You don't have to do it. It's just an extra step. I'm not going to do it, okay? So obviously we need to solve for x, so we're going to solve for x by taking 1 to the other side. So I have x is equal to plus or minus 2 over root 3 plus 1. So add 1 to both sides. So now we split up the plus or minus. So x is equal to plus 2 over root 3 plus 1, or x is equal to negative 2 over root 3 plus 1, like so. Okay, so you have 2 answers again. That's it. Alright, so once you have a go at these questions now, so you've done a couple together, have a go at them yourself. Okay, these are the answers to the question. I hope you got them all. We'll have a quick walkthrough through all of them. Okay, so let's do the first question. So the question is pretty much saying that we need to find x-intercepts, guys. Now, what is the universal rule to find x-intercepts for any graph, right? We talked about this when we did linear graphs. Pretty much the universal rule is that the x-intercept, the rule is y is equal to 0, right? So in other terms, you can pretty much say 0 is equal to x squared minus 10x plus 8, right? So this is pretty much the question we're solving for. Now I'm going to show you how we can solve this. We need to obviously complete the square. I'll do it quickly. So I have x minus 5 whole thing squared minus 25 plus 8. Again, I did that very quickly. X minus 5 squared, negative 25 plus 8 is negative 17 is equal to 0. So you can see where we got that, like negative 17 from, maybe. If not, let's just keep solving. So take the whole number to the other side. X minus 5 whole thing squared is equal to 17. Okay, take square to the other side by square rooting. So you have x minus 5 is equal to root 17 plus or minus, like so. So then you have x is equal to 5 plus or minus root 17. Boom. So obviously that's pretty much your answer. You just split up the plus or minus. So notice I just put the negative 5 on this time on the left side, but I could just as easily have done plus or minus root 17 plus 5 like so. They mean the same thing, okay? But convention is generally we write the whole number on the left side. So that's why I'm doing it that way. So your answer is going to be 5 positive version of root 17. So 5 plus root 17, or x is equal to 5 minus root 17 like so. Okay, let's do this question. So it's kind of similar to question 2, but it will give you an idea how to do question 2 if you didn't get it, right? So what I'm talking about is I'm not going to go through this question specifically, but I'm going to show you a question like it. So if you didn't get this answer, you'll understand how to do it. I'll quickly complete the square. So this time I'm just going to, there's a number in front. I'll take it up for the first two. So I have x squared minus 14x and leave negative 89 on that side because it's annoying. All right. Negative 2. Square brackets, open your brackets. X minus 7 squared minus 49. Again, I'm doing it pretty quickly. Minus 89. So this is all equal to 0, equal to 0. Which is going to be negative 2 if I expand the brackets. X minus 7 whole thing squared plus 49 times 2 is going to be 98, and then minus 89. So you have negative 2x minus 7 squared. 98 minus 89 is going to be, it's 9 plus 9. Yeah, said it. All right, let's continue. So what we're going to do is take the whole number to the other side by subtracting. So I have negative 2 x minus 7 whole thing squared is equal to negative 9. X minus 7 squared, so negative 2 is multiplying, so divide, and pretty much what you're going to end up with is 9 over 2, because negative 9 divided by negative 2, cancel out the negatives, so you're going to get 9 over 2. So now you need to square root both sides, so have x minus 7 is equal to plus or minus, every time you square it, plus or minus 9 over 2, like so. Let's keep going. Then what you're going to do is going to be take 7 to the other side. So you have x is equal to plus or minus square root 9 on 2 plus 7. Now you might notice, you might be saying, okay, we can simplify that fraction, the third a little bit. So what we talked about before, you can write this as plus or minus root 9 over root 2, right? Because of that third law we talked about before. So that's going to be the same as x is equal to plus or minus 3 over root 2 plus 7. So pretty much, guys, every time before you do the splitting off thing with the plus or minus, what you need to do is simplify this stuff as much as you can to make your life easy. All right, let's do it. So x is equal to, you take the positive version, which is going to be plus 3 on root 2 plus 7. So because it's plus, you don't need to write that plus at the start. Or x is going to be negative 3 on root 2 plus 7, like so. That's it. Simple as that. Hope you got that answer. Okay, and let's do the last question together. So it's going to be 0 is equal to negative x squared minus 4x plus 6, right? So what you need to do is complete the square. 0 is equal to negative. Take the negative 1 out, so negative 1 x squared plus 4x. Because this is negative 1, I can take it out from all three terms. Minus 6. Like so, if I take negative 1 out, that's what I end up with. So we'll leave negative 1 on the outside. Negative 1, square brackets, x plus 2 squared. X plus 2 squared minus 2 in brackets squared minus 6. So just complete the square as you always done. Negative 1 x plus 2 squared minus 4 minus 6. So you have 0 is equal to negative 1 x plus 2 whole thing squared minus 10, like so. Right, so now we need to expand this negative 1 back in. So you have 0 is equal to negative x plus 2 squared plus 10 this time. So now you need to start solving by taking the whole number first to the other side. So you have negative 10 is equal to negative x plus 2 whole thing squared. Now you can cancel out the negatives from both sides by taking both sides, multiply by negative 1, multiply by negative 1. That's how you can cancel out the negatives. So I have 10 is pretty much what I'm left with. 10 is equal to x plus 2 squared. So I need to take the square to the other side by square rooting, plus or minus square root 10 x plus 2. And then lastly, I just need to take this 2 to the other side. So I have negative 2 this time, plus or minus root 10 x. So now you need to split it up, the plus or minus. So x is equal to negative 2 plus root 10, or x is equal to negative 2 minus root 10. So positive version, negative version. Okay, that's all 3 questions. I hope you understood. Okay, so that's the end of this lesson. I hope you understood everything. Okay, keep up the good work. You guys are smashing this. Keep going through the course. That's it for this lesson. I'll see you soon.